what's poppin', what's going on? It's your boy, Mr. Locario, the bad boy of the dating game. What's good? So in this video, I'm going to be talking about how sleeping with hundreds of women made me a better man. Right now, before I start this video, I want to first say that this is not one of these videos where I say, man, you know, I was sleeping with all these women and now I realized it was wrong and, you know, you guys shouldn't do that because it's not going to be a good... No. Listen, I had so much fun with hooking up and having sex with all these women. You understand? It was awesome. Even the sex that was kind of you understand what I'm saying? It was great. I would recommend 5 out of 5 stars. You understand what I'm saying? Because I hate this narrative where people have this thing where, you know, sex is a bad thing. It's awesome. Now, you probably say, Locario, what are you talking about how having sex with hundreds of women made you a better man? So what happened is this, right? Is that when I was growing up, right, and I was hooking up with all these girls, I was in my early 20s or whatever, I thought that I needed to do that in order to feed my ego. You understand? So I felt like I was the man because of that. I felt like I was the shit because of that. So I had a huge ego because I was able to pick up girls, have sex with them, and it was easy for me at a certain point. And so I started to get real arrogant and cocky and all this other stuff, right? Then what happened was, as I kept doing this, I was like, you know, I still enjoy the sex, but what happened is that I realized that the sex within itself wasn't anything that was making a difference as far as me being happier, me feeling like, you know, a more fulfilled person in a sense. You know, it wasn't a thing that made it seem like the more I get it, the more, you know, fulfilled I'm gonna be or whatever it is like that. So what happened was I was having sex, enjoying the sex, but what I thought I was gonna get from it, which was for whatever reason, like, I don't know, like some accolades or, you know, feel like I have more status or, you know, feel special or whatever, that started to dissipate. You understand? And so I was just having sex because I enjoyed having sex, right? And so the way that it made me, you know, become a better man is that it taught me that you can't find happiness through trying to do these things. You understand what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is this, is like, for example, you ever hear celebrities and rich people say, you know, money doesn't bring you happiness? You probably say, well, it's easy for them to say because they're rich, so what the fuck, right? But that's why they can say it, because they have so much money and they realize that the money wasn't the thing, right? So for me, it was the sex. I realized the sex wasn't the thing. You understand what I'm saying? So having all this sex made me realize that the sex can't make me be that guy. You understand? The sex is not going to make me be a better person. So once I dropped trying to fill my ego, then what happened was that I realized that I can just enjoy sex for sex and not use it to fill my ego, use it to fill any type of void or whatever, and I can just enjoy the shit. So that made me become a better man, because what happens is that as I'm telling you this, some of you guys are probably watching this, some of y'all might be virgins, some of y'all might have a hard time getting girls, and you say, well, Locario, it's easy for you to say, you know, you've had women, you're hooking up, and so you're thinking that I'm full of shit. But the fact that I've been there is the reason why I can tell you, right? And so it's this big revelation of, oh shit, like, you know, I don't need this, but I can enjoy it. And I can fully enjoy it now because I know I don't need it to fill my ego. I don't need it to make me feel like, you know, I'm somebody. You understand what I'm saying? And so what happened is that I realized that I don't need it to feel like I'm valuable, right? And so that is what it was, because, and this is the thing, I had to go through it to be able to come to this realization. You understand what I'm saying? Because again, like me telling you this may not necessarily make a difference to you because you haven't experienced it. But I experienced it, went through it, so because I experienced it and went through it, therefore I have the perspective. You understand what I'm saying? And I would have never got that perspective unless I went through it. You see what I'm saying? And so this is why me hooking up with all these girls, having all this sex, has made me a better man, because I was able to get that perspective and have that experience so that I can see that I don't need it, right, to make me happy. I don't need it to fill my ego. I don't need it for any other thing but to enjoy the sex, you understand, and use it for whatever it's used for. Like some people might want to have kids. I don't want to have kids, so I never had sex to have kids. I just had sex, because I like the way it feels. But on top of that, it was the ego. Now that I dropped the ego, I can just have sex and enjoy it. So whether or not I'm having sex or not, that's not going to ruin my day. Before, back in the day, when I would, not have sex, or I would be about to have sex and the girl flakes, or something happens where it doesn't happen, I'll be pissed the fuck off, because I was tying the sex into my sense of well-being. I was tying the sex into, who I am. And so, therefore, I needed it as a sense of, well, this is my identity. So now that I don't identify with sex and I just enjoy the sex, and I can enjoy it fully because I don't identify with it, then everything just feels much better. And I just feel much more happier. Is that even more happier? I just feel happier in the situation. You feel me?
What made you want to be a coach? Do you have a high body count, lots of bodies under your belt? Wonder about your background and your experience. You must be new too, Michael. Anyway, you guys think body count means something. Body count don't really mean nothing. And I got more than most guys, but it don't take no skill to sleep with no whore. That's where you guys get this shit twisted. It is nothing to go to a club and sleep with a whore. It is nothing to sleep with a chick who's promiscuous. That's easy. And typically, if you got a high body count, most of them women are sluts and whores. You ain't got no 100 bodies and they all good girls. It don't really work like that. Most of the women you sleep with are whores. So y'all let these coaches come up here and be like, oh, I got fucking 50 bodies. I got 100 bodies. I got 300 bodies. I'm qualified. They can't teach you how to deal with no bitch. It's how many you can break, how many souls you have. That's what determines how much game you got. How many women have loved you? How many women have given you their all? Body count ain't nothing, bro. Body count don't mean shit. That's how I know y'all don't be knowing the fuck y'all be talking about. That does not make you no man. That does not make you no player, because you can sleep with a slut. That's why you don't see me up here talking about that. How many chicks I fucked and all that, because that shit don't really mean nothing. How many women you got to love you and give you they all? How many women have you got to go to the moon and back for you? Come talk to me when you can tell me that. Ask your favorite coach that.
All right, man. Yeah, man. As soon as the sun started rising up at 6 in the morning, y'all see these videos in the dark, in the light. I live out in the suburbs, so they don't believe in street lights. It's dark when I leave this parking lot. But hit the link in the description, join the Patreon. I told the brothers on the Patreon I was gonna do this video. I kind of talked about it on one of the Patreon videos y'all see coming up. I was listening, and I might put a clip in there, that people were saying, like, you had these dating coaches back in the day, like really before you had the manosphere space. And they say, Brad and them was talking manosphere talk, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I've heard them talk it like in the gym locker room and talk it amongst themselves, but really the manosphere didn't really kicked off until Brother stamped it. And then I'm gonna tell you why. And then when Brother stamped it, then you had women that act like they were pandering with the brothers, with the manosphere. And then what they did was use the brothers' platform and build their platform and turn on the brothers. You see, that's a common practice. And I talked about that on YouTube, on the Patreon y'all see coming up. All this beef in the black YouTube spaces where people that guest appeared and did appearances on people's shows, and they turned on them. And one thing I learned about YouTube, the people that be in your comment section, people that reach out, that want to help, a lot of times their intentions ain't good. Their intentions is to get some fans off of you, start beef with you, and raise they subscribers and their money up. But that beef, when you beefing with somebody, that's not something that you can, that's something you can hold. It's not something that's going to continue to rise your subscriber count and keep your subscribers there. It's just as the equivalent of buying, subscribers and buying views. At some point, the truth gonna come. Truly your ability to, either be a gifted speaker or gifted editor or great production, that's what usually keeps, the evolution of your channel going, right? And consistency. But to the point, when we talk about these guys that was going back in the day, telling these guys they need to sleep with 100, 200, 300 women, that was bad advice. Even back then, before the STD rates went high, even if you're going back to the 70s and 60s, that's just bad advice. You know what I'm saying? Because when you take that advice, You don't understand the spirits that you allow into you. You know, from a man's perspective. So they always talk about a woman having a body count, but it also affects the man. Soul ties, spiritual ties. You know, a lot of times if you ever start dealing with somebody and ever since you dealing with them, you know, shit ain't went right, a lot of that got to do with like soul ties. And it's very nasty to sleep with that many women. In general, it's nasty. It's nasty. Especially a lot of y'all, you know, you got dudes saying if you having sex with a rubber, it don't count. You had that girl saying, oh, she don't count condom sex and all that. So you already know how trifling. And then, you know, when you got to go to the clinic or the doctor tell you something or something, you see something going on with your body, you know, and then you start freaking out and you start praying to God. Then when you're dealing with these women that's trying to scam and do abortion scares and put babies on you and you stressing out and you losing hair because you're reckless. Nah, man, just as a woman's body is her temple, your body is your temple. You got to watch who you let into your vicinity. Not even just sexually. You got to watch who you let into your vicinity. If you sleep with somebody that ain't living right, that's trifling, that's demonic, what you think, you know, you think that ain't going to rub off on you? You think that ain't going to rub off on you? And to keep it real, contrary to what people believe, you know, and what your mind tell you, the best sex is when you able to have sex and build sexual chemistry with one person. That's the best sex. And obviously, you know, each person that you sleep with is different. Each person like different things. You know what I'm saying? So they ain't really all the same when you sleep with women. Some women like it slow. Most women like aggressive and hard. Most women like to be dominated. It's all something pretty much different. So just going out there sleeping with women, a lot of times you see a lot of dudes, they become numb when they slept with so many women. They don't get satisfaction from sex anymore. It's like watching porn. After you get tired of one genre of porn or your taste for porn get more sicker and sicker. You think that don't happen within, you know, sleeping with so many people? This is how you get people, and like I said, I'm talking to the men for real, but in general, this is how you get people that want to share their wife and do gangbangs and go to orgies and shit like that and take their wives to orgy. And then these the same people who say it's just sex, right? You got them people that say it's just sex, but then, you know, you had to do it on TikTok talking about him and this girl went to an orgy and he was just thinking about getting his, and then when it was her turn, you know, it hurt because he went home and he was like he wanted something from her after the orgy, and she talking about she's still hurting from the guy that slept with her at the orgy. You feel me? So at the end of the day, when we start really having these conversations, yeah, people say it's just sex. The people that say it's just sex, nah, it ain't just sex, especially from a man's perspective. You know, especially from a man's perspective, it ain't just sex. And you know, and a lot of dudes that just say it's just sex, a lot of times it's a problem with their masculine identity. Or they lying and their pride is hurt. It ain't just sex. You know? So when you see people that get too far gone and they going to orgies and gangbang, they've been having too much sex. And you don't want to get to the point where you done slept with so many people that you don't feel nothing. You can't pair bond no more. They always put that, talking about how women can't pair bond. After a while, men can't pair bond. You see with that many people. You know, because you trying to compare her to everybody you've been with, just on the sexual tip. You know, and a lot of times you hear in dudes, you know, in Hollywood, and I'm pretty sure regular dudes got this many stories. They slept with so many women, it's not satisfactory. They did threesomes, foursomes, trains, gangbangs, orgies. They did all these things, and then they get so sick in the mind, they go start sleeping with men. There's a couple dudes in Hollywood like that. If you look hard enough, I ain't gonna say nobody's name, but there's a couple guys in Hollywood that talked about that. They slept with so many, and some of these ninjas is married. They slept with so many different women that they tried men. Do you want to get that burnt out for sex? You do something so much. I mean, I remember, and I always talk about this on my platforms. It was an episode of My Wife and Kids where somebody ate his special pie, Michael Kyle, the father. So he made them eat that pie every day for every meal until somebody fessed up and told them who ate his pie. Okay? So when we start really getting into that aspect of it, They got tired of eating the same fucking pie. I forgot what happened. They got tired of eating the same fucking pie. So think about it. You know, you sleeping with all these different women, all these different ways. Come on now. And this is why you see guys, you know, this is why you see guys that former players or guys that have rotations and they able to settle down. Now the biology is a little bit different between men and women. It's more likely that a guy can just be like, you know what, I was out there playing the field, which y'all women want to say, you was going around, which y'all like. And he can just be like, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. You know, I'm ready to settle down. That happens all the time. You see a lot of guys on college, you be like, damn, you know, he got out of college, he just got married. Trust me, them 4, 5, 6 years he was in college, you know, he was really getting the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? He really, you know, that's why you see what you see. And yeah, it's nothing wrong with exploring yourself. You feel what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with seeing what you like, but a lot of y'all just sleep with women and not getting to know them. And they doing witchcraft, you know what I'm saying? You got the crazy stalker women that you can't get rid of. You know what I'm saying? And usually the ones that you really don't care for, let me say this, usually the ones you really don't care for is the ones that's harder to get away, who's showing up. You trying to start a family. You know, they had the jokes about, the girls be on the jokes talking about, you finally get a man and then the dude that been in your DMs or something call you back, your ex call you back while you with your man. You know, it's similar to that. It's similar to that. And a lot of y'all don't have the discipline to turn down no woman. That's how you know you still a little boy. That's how you know you still a little boy. So when I start really kind of really digging into that, dog, it's harder for guys. It's different, you know, tactics to a man pair bonding and sleep with too many women than women doing it. But on top of that, to keep it a thou wow, you know, it can happen for men not to pair bond and not commit. But a lot of men, you know, a lot of smart men who go out there and they attack the field in the smart way, and they might have their fun and not just sleep with 1,000 or 100 different women, which is bad advice. You're going to end up doing permanent damage. Okay. A lot of them dudes, respectfully, they end up tired of having a rotation. Both of these pumps, bro. That should get old. Or I'm pregnant scares, or I need money for abortion scams, or, you know, you know, or STD scares, or, you know, you dealing with the crazy ones that just want to pop up and it ain't their day. You know, like I said, that shit get old. So dudes enjoy rotation for a minute. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, you know, most dudes that's mature enough is going to want to settle down with one woman. And people say, why would I ever do that? Like, if you never had no bitches and you get some money and you're 35, 40 years old, then yeah, understandably so. But majority of men, they want a family. They want a family. And for you wanting the legacy and being a committed, whatever committed relationship, because they be talking about polyamorous and all this shit, polygamy. And we could talk about polygamy, right? And be like, well, I got 2 wives. You can have 2 wives and the dude still want to go fuck other bitches. Ain't that still considered cheating? So you got to have a certain amount of discipline. You feel what I'm saying? But if you going out there sleep with that many people and you taking that advice, you nasty. You a nasty motherfucker, bro. Just keeping it real. And, you know, but hey, hit the link in the description, join the Patreon.